Welcome to the Village of Buchanan, August 27th workshop meeting. And before we say the pledge, we're going to stand for a few minutes for a moment of silence. We lost several residents. This past week was a tough week here in Buchanan. But the one we're going to talk about is Bob Ferguson. He used to come to our meetings, and he sat, and Nick, he sat where you're sitting. Bob Ferguson used to come to our board meetings, and where Nick Zachary is sitting tonight, that's where he usually sat. And Bob was named Veteran of the Year for Congressman Lawler last year. So Bob was only here in the village a short time, but he always told me he wanted to move here. And about 4 years ago, he was so happy that he moved here. So please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States. All right, thank you, everyone. Okay. So got off to a noisy start, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to go a little bit out of order, and I'm going to ask Vincent to come up and discuss the cell phone, where we are with that, with the cell phone tower and antenna. So just an update. Thank you, sir.
For the record, my name is Vincent Xavier. I'm the representative from Homeland Towers. As you recall, I was here a few months back initiating the proposal for this project. It did take me a little while between holidays and vacations and everybody else, getting our draft lease together and the escrow check submitted. But I did submit hard copies of the draft lease, a cover letter, and the escrow check this morning to your office. I also then sent digital copies to Cindy to circulate this way. Mrs. Porteous has the Word version she can redline as well. My goal here would be then to, once the check clears anyway, to schedule a time for Mrs. Porteous and my attorney to get together to discuss the lease itself and the process moving forward, with the goal of being back before you in October, either at that time with the remaining deliverables, including the EAF forms, the visual assessment forms, the FAA and FCC analysis, so that I can present those to you hopefully in October, and then we can discuss further. I don't really have anything else tonight to address besides just letting the board know that was submitted today.
All right. Thank you for the update because, and thank you for coming to explain it to the whole board. We appreciate that.
Questions at this point? I know I just submitted it this morning. There's a lot to look through, but
one of the things, I don't know if everyone's been following this, but we do have a cell phone issue here in the village. There's areas where there's no cell phone service. So Vincent was contacted. He's done a balloon test, and it's going to be located on our paper road that goes behind the baseball field and the highway department on Westchester Avenue. So we've been working on getting this cell phone tower so we can provide better service for the residents here.
Yeah, the structure itself will also be able to accommodate your first responders as well at the top of the tower with no recurring monthly costs. Obviously, this will also help when you're doing the meter readings for the houses and things. That's in addition to just the commercial services that would come from the tower. Yes.
All right, good. Thank you, Vincent.
All right.
Thanks for the update. We look forward to seeing you in October. Okay, thank you. All right. Next is an update from AMS, and this is the project, the 5-story project behind the hardware store. So please come up to the podium.
So good evening, Mayor, members of the board. My name is Janet Garris. I'm a partner with Del Bello, Dinellan, Weingarten, Wise & Whitaker here this evening on behalf of AMS. I know that you usually see my partner, Mark Weingarten. He is lucky enough to be away this week, and I'm lucky enough to be with you. Joining me this evening, Ryan Sutherland with AMS, and just to give you a little update. So as you know, rezoning was adopted back in September of 2023. We received approvals from this board in March of this year, 2024. Most recently, we went to the Zoning Board of Appeals to obtain a variance for to obtain a variance for the fence that we are proposing there, and Ryan has some pictures that he can show you, but we are pleased to advise you that the zoning board unanimously granted that variance. So the good news about this project is that site work has begun there. They anticipate since the approvals were granted, they've been working on construction drawings and financing for the project. They anticipate closing, I believe, on construction of the financing for the project sometime in September. And thereafter will be, commencing construction. So a couple of different things we wanted to discuss with you. Again, first of all, I mentioned the variance. Second of all, Ryan wanted to come back and show you the different options for the rock slope that you are familiar with, to hold back the slope that we talked about during the approvals process. And then the other modification is that we intend to offer this as an active adult community offered to those who are 55 and over. So they are working with an investor who regularly does this type of product. And so we wanted to present some of those renderings for you and show you some of the other products that have been done and what AMS intends to do here. So the other thing I also wanted to mention is that we are exploring the possibility of obtaining IDA benefits from the Westchester County IDA, and that would just be in the form of sales and use tax for materials and mortgage recording tax on the construction mortgage for the project. So that doesn't impact the village directly at all. They are not seeking a pilot agreement. So the taxes that we talked about for this project during the approvals process would remain as they were discussed with the board. So I want to just introduce Ryan, let him show you the proposed.
Can I ask you a few questions about the 55 plus? Because this is not what the board originally approved. So I just have a few questions on that. And you're going to the 55 plus because of funding?
Yeah, Ryan can talk.
Ryan can. Okay, so I can ask you a few questions.
The applicant has an investor that they work with that does a 55 and over active adult product. It's one of the reasons that this project is able to be financed at this time. As you probably know, there are a lot of other projects that aren't being constructed because of interest rates and financing. This is a product that at a 55 plus active adult community is being financed and they're ready to commence construction.
So if you didn't get this financing for 55 plus, you wouldn't be able to do the project? Is that
Not
what
at
you're?
this time.
Okay.
And Ryan can talk a little bit more about that.
And then just the other question, Ryan, you can come up. So I need to understand 55 plus. So does that mean all the tenants have to be 55 and above, or can it be one person that's 55 and above and 3 grandchildren? Or I'm just trying to get an idea of what the 55 plus community is. Please. Thank you.
So Ryan Sutherland, I'm Director of Design and Development with AMS. So I'll take a step back. So our active adult products, 55 plus, Janet can correct me if I'm wrong, but you need one person in the household to be 55 and older. They could obviously have, somebody younger living in that community with them. But what we see in all of our other developments is if you're living in, an active adult not retirement, but senior community, why would you bring somebody younger into it? That's not really the point of the product. The point is to create a community of people that are similar, that want to share in a luxury product for active adult 55 plus. So we don't see children living in buildings like this.
No, I'm just, because today's society, you see a lot of the grandparents taking care of their grandchildren.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to ask that.
There could be circumstances where that happens. We don't really see it typically. We often see downsizers selling their house or unfortunately widowers or divorcees, moving in.
All right. And the rental price, is that going to be the same that you had anticipated?
Yeah. And so actually I have a presentation on
Oh,
this.
good.
Marcus,
Great.
I want to pull it up.
And then I'll ask probably some more questions.
I have some of
Perfect.
the details in there. We can
All right.
have
Good.
a dialogue.
Thank you.
So it's the second.
This one?
Yeah, that's it. Okay, so just as a little intro, we introduced this product last year. It's called Sylvan Woods. It's an active adult 55 plus product. We have two projects that we're building in New Jersey right now that one is finishing construction next month and the other is finishing in December. And so Mark, go to the next slide for me. So we'll skip ahead. So I just want to emphasize that this is all about building a community of people that are in a similar point, in life, and to foster a sense of community through activities, engagement, through the staff organizing events in the building. It's meant to be a premium product for people that want to, enter another stage of their life and be around like-minded people that are similar. This is in Evesham, New Jersey. This is under construction now. And we have, a full suite of amenities, from a great room with a bar, a catering kitchen, a demonstration kitchen. There's multiple dining areas. You have a wellness area with a steam and sauna room, a gym, an art studio, a library, a game lounge, the whole 9 yards. Go to the next slide, Marcus. In the back of the building, and we'll have very similar product here. Exterior amenities with a pool. This has a spa in it. It's a little bit different in Westchester. It's a little more difficult to build a spa, but you have a gardening center and some other outdoor activities built into the landscape here. So this is just a look and feel of the residence. I think I showed this to you, through the approval process, but this is a typical 2-bedroom unit. It's a luxury product. It has all the amenities you would have in a single family home. Soft closed cabinets, quartz countertops. We have an island with bar seating, obviously luxury plank flooring, tile bathrooms, double vanities, the whole 9 yards. And so this is actually from our project in Howell. This is one of our model units. This is the kitchen, living room, another living room view, bedroom, and then master bathroom. So I think you can all see the quality of the product that we're looking to build here. Now, when we say 55 plus, this is truly, if you look at a market rate luxury development, this is for 55 and older, the same type of product. So this is our project here. The 4 stories of residential over a parking garage. So just to circle back on Janet's summary, we look to start site work next month. We've cleared the trees. We have a trailer on site, I think, as you all have seen. And I think we're working out a few permitting issues before we commence on full site work. And we're looking to close with our equity partner end of September, early October, to then one full bore into construction. We've gone back and forth with our permit set, with the building department and third-party review, and we think we've satisfied all our comments at this point. So this is a view of the courtyard. This is on top of the parking garage. And this is just a bit of a look and feel of what it's going to be. On the left side of the page, you have the interior amenity space that comes out. You have the pool in the center. You have a barbecue area. Here on the left, it's a little bit different. So, barbecue here on the left. We have some fireplace seating on the right, overlooking the pond off in the distance beyond our site. So to go back to rents, our projected rents for the project: average 1-bedroom $29.75, average 2-bedroom $36.50. So
Does that include heat and?
No.
No. So it's
Utilities are
that plus heat and
Yeah.
their electricity, which is
Yep.
normal.
all separately metered. So this is our project in Howell. This is a rendering of the aerial. And the next slide, this is the built product. So this 4th building is opening up this month. The clubhouse is finishing up as well. We'll be opening that in full in the next month or two. So the view of the clubhouse is a little bit separate, different type of product from what we're proposing in Buchanan, but I wanted to show again the quality of what the 55 plus product is. Again, a pool, spa in the back of the building. So this is our project in Evesham. It's opening up in December. Gray Star is managing this building for us, so they're doing all the leasing and they're managing the asset post-construction. We've been pre-leasing this project since, I guess, December of last year. We're 20% pre-leased before even opening the building. So it's really getting velocity, and the community is very happy with what we're putting forward. The same. And then in Yorktown, we're working on a similar development. This is going through a full rezoning secret process, so it's taking a little bit longer. We're hoping to have an approval there next year or something.
After he's finished with the presentation, and we'll let the board, and then, you know. So is there going to be a building management on site at
Yes.
this project?
Yes. So we'll have a community manager, supervisor, leasing staff, 3 or 4 people on site.
I have a few more questions, but if the board has any questions, comments.
I have a question, Ryan. So your private equity partner is no affiliation with government. It's a private equity partner
So it's
for
an
you.
institutional investor who
Okay.
does this all over the country.
I mean, that's pretty much, I think, what everybody's looking at here. So without this financing, okay, and they are dedicated to the 55 and older, obviously, and the product you're putting in Yorktown is the same product, right?
Yes.
So the tax cuts that you spoke about and all the other stuff, it's just to help the financing process,
Correct.
okay? And it's not affecting any monetary stuff that goes on with the village whatsoever. All the rents stay the same, the taxes stay the same.
Everything stays the same.
Monetarily, everything stays the same.
If we were seeking a pilot, that would obviously affect taxes to the village. We're not seeking that. No. We're just looking to help improve the project through those other benefits that we described.
And your data with the village, I'm sure you've done some process of data processing to accommodate the 55 and older. You found results that work in this area?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, the investor that's looking to come in with us, they build these all over the country and the Northeast. There's little to no product here. And this was a perfect site, and they jumped on it almost immediately. And to your other question, or comment earlier about the 55 plus and this investor, it's not that we couldn't build the project, but we would have to find other equity. It would delay the project. This investor is looking to come in now, and we can start immediately.
Okay. Thank you.
Anyone else?
So you're anticipating basically filling the building up with leases, right?
What's that?
Excuse me. You're anticipating that you're going to fill this building up with people leasing under these rates.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
And if you were to have 30 or 40 that weren't filled, what would you do then?
I mean, again,
I mean, it would
we
be
start
just left empty, or
we start releasing this very early for this product, given that people need time to sell their homes. So we start leasing with 18 months before the building even opens. So we anticipate the building being 50% full by the time it even opens, and then over time, you lease 12 a month, another 6 down the road. We're confident it will fill up.
and if
We
you
wouldn't
didn't-
build it if it wouldn't.
Right. I know that. But I'm just saying, and the off chance that you don't fill it up and you have 20 or 30 units left over, I mean, what happens then with the rates or the people that are living there? You changed any of that? Or
I
can
mean,
you?
if we have to drive, velocity and lower rent slightly, we'll do that, but it's not going to be lowered down to anything in an affordable housing range. It's not what we're looking to do here. It's not good for us, and our partner would never be on board with that.
Okay, that's kind of what I was getting at. So thank you.
So I have a question. So to kind of hit on what Bob is saying, so what you're saying is your target market and your demographic isn't necessarily pulling from this population here.
It's
Right.
pulling from the region.
So it's pulling from down county, it's pulling from, areas south where you're going to have people that are looking to become empty nesters and downsize and move north,
Yeah, I mean,
typically.
that's exactly right. And it could be Buchanan residents looking to sell a house and stay in the village. It could be somebody from further south in Westchester. It could be somebody from Manhattan looking to move up here. It could be, it's pulling from a region. That's why we are thrilled to be here.
I've been thinking about it quite a bit, and I'm just looking at our seniors in the village here. Their homes are paid for. They've lived here many years. Their taxes are low because we haven't done a reassessment since the early 60s when Con Edison came in. So I'm thinking about it. If that was me, what would I do here in the village? Say my home was worth, let's just say $400,000, $450,000. And if I spend $3,000 a month in a year's time, I'm probably looking at $40,000 to rent. So 40,000 times 5 years is, so 10 years. If they sold their home and then they moved here, they'd be able to live there for about 10 years using their equity from their home that they sold. So I think, honestly, a lot of our older residents would probably, if they had to get into that situation, I think they would probably stay in their home and do a reverse mortgage, because that would make more financial sense to them. So I know there's a few of our seniors that are very interested in moving there, but I don't see the bulk of them moving. So they're better off staying in their home, using up their equity, and still staying in the home that they raised their children and their families. So I'm sure the studies were done for all of Westchester and maybe Rockland and surrounding areas. So I think your project will probably be pulling more from the outside instead of a lot of our residents.
I mean, it's a fair point to make. And what I would say is, yeah, we're proposing a premium product. It's a different way to live, right? You're living in a community that is turnkey, it has everything you're looking for, you'll grow a family within a building, of people that are of a similar point in life, right? And it's just like single family home. So,
It's not for everyone.
Yeah, it's not for everybody, but some people, I think, jump at the idea of something different.
Mm-hmm.
The active adult, not included the living or anything. I was going to say, it's, as Ryan mentioned, it's active adult, 55 and older. It's not intended to be any kind of assisted living or something along those lines.
Okay.
So you mentioned that you have 2 projects that you're working.
Yep.
Have you completed any with 55 and over residents?
Yeah, so
Okay.
The project in Howell, 3 of the buildings are complete. 2 of them are currently occupied. So
Completely? Right.
fully leased up. And the project in Evesham, that'll finish in December. And we already have, at least 20% on that.
And where did you pull most of the residents from?
It was all regional. I mean, there's 2 different locations, kind of mid-southern New Jersey.
Okay.
And we're getting people from the town. We're getting people that want to move back to the town that they grew up in to be around family. It's really all over the area. And it's people who often are already living in another project that's similar, but that's outdated. And they want to move into something fresh and something that's a little bit more luxurious. We're seeing just different groups of people move in from all over the place.
Okay, thank you.
I have another question. How do you market this demographic to all the clientele that you're looking to pull in?
Yeah, I mean, so
Because obviously you're not pulling the clientele from here, right? You're pulling it from Rye, Larchmont, and Mamaroneck, surrounding areas where people have a little bit more disposable income. Because rents at $36.50 for a 2-bedroom and $29.75 for a 1-bedroom. For a senior, somebody of 55 plus here, that's not a small number. So how do you market this?
Sure. So we typically start marketing, like I said, 18 months ahead of the building opening. And we go with a full marketing campaign, website, splash page. We use like Google Analytics and data. This stuff's way above my head. But to target people in the entire region that we're surrounding the project. So we have a full team working on the marketing. It's not just, post a website up and let it sit. We actively try to engage communities, not only, obviously in Buchanan, but in the entire area.
Okay.
So when I heard 55 plus, I said, okay, maybe it will have less impact on traffic because you're not having a lot of people who are, there's some working people, some aren't. So I was happy about that. So less impact on that. But then the other concern is you have 55 plus, and for us people that are over 60, this is the time of our lives where we start having medical issues, and there's more calls for service, for ambulance. And our fire department here in Buchanan Engine is wonderful. So when there's a call, they come out also to assist the ambulance. So Buchanan Engine will come, Cortland Ambulance, and our police department is usually first on the scene, which is our services here are phenomenal. We have a good group of people. So what I would ask is that you go to Buchanan Engine and Cortland Ambulance and ask them what possibly they could need because of the increased service that's going to happen. There is going to be more services that are going to be required from this building. And yes, it's not 70 plus. I get that. But I really appreciate if you could go to our emergency service people and ask what they could use possibly and what you could help them out with.
Yeah, we could absolutely re-engage with them and see if there's anything special they need to service this population.
But we don't anticipate that there's going to be a significant difference at all.
Okay.
What we previously looked at.
Don't be shy. Speak up.
We don't anticipate a significant difference in what we previously looked at.
Okay, but we don't know for sure because we don't know everyone that's moving in there. So I would just kindly request that you do reach out to our emergency services, and if there's something that you can help them with that will help them supply the service to your building, that would be great. I'd appreciate it, and the board, we'd all appreciate it. The Village of Buchanan would appreciate it. So, thank you. Yes, sir, Mr. Our planner.
There was a
Dave Smith.
discussion about how you're treating the rock face.
Yeah, we're going to get to that.
Okay,
Actually,
good.
really we can wrap this conversation up and then go. Yeah.
Mhm. Okay, you know what? We have some residents here. We have two people from our planning board, Nick Zachary and Eileen Asinger. So I know Nick wanted to ask a question while he's here, and, and then anyone in the audience, if you have a question,
So
please
do you
feel free.
want Ryan to go through the last couple?
Do the whole
questions?
segment? Yes, please. Yes. We'll open it up.
What's your preference?
We'll open it up. So yeah, please do the whole presentation because somebody might have a question about your presentation. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay. Yeah, we'll start here. So I apologize. This may be a little bit difficult to see. It's a drawing with a few images overlaid on it. So I'm going to go and kind of point and speak loudly. As you know, we have large on our site. Last was pursuing a boulder wall and or a ready rock retaining wall. And the board was very concerned that, they didn't want to see any wire mesh. They wanted to see something that looked nice and natural. And so we've done some additional engineering work on this. And you can see this line in red that kind of highlights around the perimeter. And you see at the back right corner of the building as well. Those are where the retaining walls will be located. That will be somewhat visible. I mean, obviously the larger retaining wall in the front closest to 9A will be the most visible. The two options that we are looking at, and this somewhat depends on the quality of the rock that we harvest from the site. Obviously, we have to blast and ship rock out to put the boulder wall together. And we know that the retaining wall along 9A is also a concern. You want that to look nice and natural. So what we're looking at is this tiered boulder wall option for the main site where we have to step it back. And in the locations where we cannot create the boulder wall in some of the steeper sections, we're looking at doing natural stone face ready rock retaining wall. And these are very similar to the images that we were showing during the approval process. We just wanted to keep you updated on where we landed with the project. And in the engineering work, we've had to further set the disturbance back into the rock slope slightly to make the engineering actually feasible for the project. So we just two options. Any questions?
No questions on that.
Okay, and then as Janet mentioned, we went to the zoning board to seek a variance for a fence height increase. So behind the hardware store, we have a 4-foot grade difference between our site. We have our kind of service drive lane, which is mechanical, and our neighbor site hardware store. So we had to build a 4-foot retaining wall between their site and our site. And then on top of that, our proposed 6-foot tall fence. I believe the village code only permitted a 6-foot tall fence to start. So it's going to be 10 foot in total from bottom of wall to top of fence. The neighbor agreed. Obviously, it's great for both of us to have that screening between the two of us. And we're the only people going to look at this. It's behind the hardware store between our buildings. That's all I have.
That's all you have. Okay. Nick, I know you wanted to ask a question. I am going to open it up to the floor since you're doing a presentation. I just think it's better that we all talk about what's going on. Yeah, please come up.
You said that you were pre-leasing for some time, and yet the switch to 55 and up was more recent. So I'm just wondering if you had to tell people who pre-leased initially that they cannot rent because they're too young.
The answer is sorry if I wasn't clear. We start pre-leasing 18 months prior to opening the building. So we haven't started pre-leasing at all yet.
Oh.
Yeah. We don't want to start pre-leasing, 3 years ahead of time.
I think he was talking about the other locations, Nick.
Leasing at the other project. Yes.
Correct.
Oh yeah. Those projects were 55 and older to start. So yeah.
Eileen, do you have anything?
I think my biggest concern is that when they first came, the trending was that this was going to be an apartment complex with age groups from low to high. Same pricing, same kind of setup and all the rest of it. And now we've gone, how long has it been since you came with the first trend that you wanted? 2 years? Okay, so now we're into another trend. So, and that happens to be for financing. I'm waiting for the third trend to come up, even though you say you're going to start right away. I'm waiting for a third trend to come up as we go past this election coming up in November, because I think that's going to tell a lot in regards to that. I'm just a little skeptical. This sounds more like what they do with the affordable housing when you get federal and county or state funds, and all of a sudden it's advertised out to 9 counties. I have no problem with that, but then the home base where it's located is put out because nobody gets selected, and possibly nobody will have the economics to be able to do this in this village. I foresee it coming from the south, whether it be Bronxville, Larchmont, Irvington, Edgemont, whatever the case might be. And I don't know what they will see up here, because Peekskill is going very big affordable housing. There's not that much in the way of market value up there. And I'm not quite sure where Peekskill is going to go with that, how it's going to go. Croton, on the same breath, is also going crazy with their new building. Their residents are up in arms. Some of it is affordable, some of it is not. It's a mixed bag, and I would like the board to think about this. I know you have concerns, and I know that we do want housing here. I'm just not sure if there's a third trend coming, and that I will be very curious about.
Would anyone else like to make a comment or have a question on the presentation? Yes, sir. Please state your name.
Sure. My name's Eric Warner. I live at 159 Stewart Street, Buchanan. I have a couple concerns here about the development you guys are doing, as well as, just safety in general. I come to you guys with 25 years experience as a career firefighter. I have 2 years of college behind me where I studied fire protection technology, fire suppression systems. I'm also trained in heavy and technical rescue, building and structural collapse. So about to come to you guys tonight, it's not mudslinging at you guys or bashing your systems that you have at play, is to tell you a couple things that you really need to know. For example, with these guys here, what they're building, you are increasing your run volume by a minimum of 10%. You have automatic fire alarms. Anybody who's a career firefighter will tell you. You guys should be looking at the city of Peekskill. Their infrastructure is failing on a regular basis. All right? A fire in a building can become catastrophic very quickly in numerous ways. Give you an example. The backside of the building. How you getting somebody off the 4th floor? There's no access for a ladder truck. There's nobody around here that has a scaling ladder or what they call a banger ladder. The only department in the country that has a banger ladder is LA County. It's a 50-foot ladder. It takes 5 people to put up. All right? And it's not even the fire that would kill somebody in that building. It's the smoking issue. On Webster Avenue in the Bronx, they had e-bike, which is people have these things all the time now. Lithium-ion battery fires. Guess what? They're hard to extinguish. 18 people died in a building in the Bronx. It wasn't the fire that killed them. Fire doesn't kill most people. It's smoke. And that's what's getting them. And your emergency services are very stressed. Your ambulance corps has issues getting people out of the barn. Your fire departments have people getting out. During the day, people are busy working. And volunteerism, in general, in the state and the country, is lowering for a couple of reasons. 1, people don't have time. 2, the standards to be involved in these things are getting harder and harder. And 3, if NIOSH and OSHA get involved, you're going to have a paid supervisor here. or possibly paid department because they're starting to implement stuff that the volunteers can't do. And even career departments will be challenged by this. Medical monitoring. If you go to more than X amount of fires, you have to be monitored for the rest of your life because of cancer. And it's a big, real thing. So as you guys build and develop these neighborhoods and stuff, you really need to look hard at your emergency services. You're lucky in a lot of respects that you have places like the VA that can give you 3 guys right off the bat. Peace will give you 4 or 5 guys off the bat. And Peace was done very well. They had put on 6 or 7 career firefighters. I'm pro firefighter. I'm pro volley too, because that's where I started. I was only good at my job because where I started out and people would train me. I worked the best of the best, trained by the best of the best. Love my job every day. So my concern when it comes to this, they talk about putting over 5 communities in here. Okay, now they're bringing grandkids. We got e-bikes all over the place. You guys are going to put a battery charging station for Teslas. Do you know what that is to put out a Tesla fire? I mean, I hear there's rumors you guys are talking about battery storage facility here. Let me tell you how catastrophic that could be. 2019, 4 firefighters almost killed out in Arizona. Trained up career firefighters, hazmat specialists. They got blown out the door because the gas hit the right explosive limit and they were almost killed. It's happening all over the place. Mayor Packard Somers, they're doing this. And they're taking away their freedom of speech at these meetings. If you decide to do that, don't do that here. That'd be a catastrophic thing for everybody. So you really need to think about this. Your infrastructure, your water. You get a fire in a building. You only got an 8-inch high pressure main. You think that's enough to put it out? Yes, it's sprinkled. You're right. But guess what? That day your water main's out. You had a hoarder in the building, had stuff stacked to the sprinkler system. It's out of service now. You had e-bike or something else electrical going that suppressor didn't take out. And here's the biggest thing nobody talks about in fire service, especially up here. Wind impacted fires. A wind impacted fire. I've been at a couple of them. Lieutenant New York City Fire Department killed in a Rockways, 119 truck. Got cooked up there. You had a fire recently on Lindsay Avenue where that was wind impacted. I stood there with another trained professional who drives the chief in the 19th battalion, and we watched it blow out the left side of the window. It was ripping out in the northwest. That building is in the northwest corridor. So all I have to do is have the perfect scenario. Doors open, spring day, e-bike gets going. That sprinklers all ran already. And as far as EMS systems go, what are you going to do? I had a call next to my house. Listen, we got great service here. You're right, Mr. Nickbacher, 100%. We have a great police department. You're talking about putting on.
I'm sorry, Eric. I could listen to you all night,
Right.
but it's usually 3 minutes. So if you
Okay.
could just get to your point.
Real quickly, you talk about putting on the police department, not police officer here. Why not hire per diems? And one other question, why are we not using like shared mitigation, fair share mitigation to get stuff for your departments? Fair share mitigation is you and Rochelle. That $1 million fire truck you got, that would have paid for it. They would have had to pay up front. Don't do what Peaceful did. We're dumping all on the homeowners who are exiting out here at 1%. You should get them build up front. Everybody's going to build here. Real estate is at a prime in the county. The greatest asset we have is a Portland train station. Nobody wants to live in New York City anymore. That's a true fact.
And yeah, I'd like to see that so I can get a copy for the board too. Thank you very much. Thank you. And then e-bikes are a problem. You're correct. And I have a few rentals, and going forward on the leases, I think everyone should eliminate them from their properties. Thank you. Anyone else? Oh, yep, Tina. Sure. Yes, okay. This way we don't. It's all you, girl.
My name is Tina Zarello. I live at 229 Westchester Avenue. Thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to come before you. This young lady is correct, because this project started out one way, then went another way, and now here we are with senior housing. And then the young gentleman says, well, it's all going to be 55 and older. One can be under 55. What happens with under 55 comes everybody. I know, because I manage Springville Apartments, and I know how it works. You're either all in at 100% 55, or you're 80-20. You can be either or, but you got to make a decision, because when you're 80-20, that means you can let 20% of the underage in. I just want to see 55. You want to build luxury senior housing? Fine. I'm not opposed to it. What I'm opposed to is the very beginning of this project, and all of you know it, was the size of it. We bent over backwards to give them everything they wanted, and now they come in front of the board and they're saying, well, now we've decided we're going to make it 55 and older because we're getting funding from somebody who's all in. But now all the other counties are going to be the ones we're going to draw from, and our own village can't take advantage of what they're doing. So it would be nice if seniors could sell their homes and live somewhere, but they're not going to be able to do that. They're going to be stuck in their houses. They're not going to have that luxury. But somebody from Rybrook, somebody from Rye, somebody from Harrison, all the down counties, we're going to market them all, bring them all here. And this, how big is the village of Buchanan? I really don't know, but I know it's very small.
1.3 square miles. 1.3, 1.4, depends who you ask.
And here we are putting this monstrosity up, and now we're flipping it to be 55 and older. All I'm saying is it's great. You want to have housing, that's fine, but make it so it's good for everybody. And that size building over in that area, Carbones, that's reasonable. You're saying have housing, but make it reasonable, make it presentable. That's a monstrosity of a building in such a little village. I just don't get it. And you really think somebody from Rybrook, Rye, all these money makers are going to really come to the village of Buchanan? I'd love to see this. But it's the point that this is the village. It's not Rybrook. It's not Tarrytown. It's not Sleepy Hollow. It's not any of those. Check the rents out. And yes, what happens when it doesn't get filled up? Where are we at that point? We're going to look at this building and we're going to undercut them, lower the rents. You tell me market rent, that's what it should be at, market rent. So the decision you already made already did the damage. So it is what it is, and I have to suffer through when I can't even ride on Albany Post Road because it's so disgusting. It used to be, if you wanted to put something over in that area, you could have found just about anything, but we got squeezed.
Yeah.
So, yes, it's 3.
It's 3 minutes.
And you too.
Thank you, Tina. And I know you mentioned Carbone.
What a nice building.
You don't think if they had more property and no wetlands, they wouldn't have made it bigger?
A little further. They wouldn't go 5 stories high.
You wouldn't be happy with anything.
You don't know me.
Oh,
Well, you know what I will say about the Carbone. They're here this evening. The Carbone project across from the church, St. Christopher's Church. They did fit in with what our overlay district was. So I thank them for following through on that, and we look forward to their building also.
Excuse me?
Who?
You want me to give you another 3 minutes to call me an asshole?
Okay, guys, let's not go down the
Is that
rabbit
what you
hole.
want to do?
Let's not.
Listen, I got nothing to lose either.
I didn't say. Just okay. Let's move on. Anyone else have a question or a comment? No. Okay. Thank you. There's more fun things on the agenda if you'd like to stay. So thank you. Thank you for coming, and thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so our planner, Dave Smith, is here. He's going to give us an update on the lead agency status regarding the rezoning of the M2 district west of Broadway. So this is mostly the Indian Point property.
Correct. It's the Indian Point property. It also includes Certainteed and the Lens Cove portion. It's all west of Broadway. So at your July 2nd meeting, your board passed a resolution declaring your notice of intent to act as lead agency under the State Environmental Quality Review Act. That's the seeker laws that govern in New York State. The proposed action is for the rezoning, and they were included with that circulation was, I think it's like 18 pages of proposed zoning text amendments that would affect those particular properties. Included the creation of a waterfront development district and an overlay district that would encompass the Certainteed property, and that particular use would be a special permit use under the proposed legislation. In addition, the package included an update to the village's 2005 comprehensive plan because of the nature and the extent of the proposed rezoning. It also included an environmental assessment form, the long form, and some EAF narrative which describes the proposed action. So all that information was circulated to a list, a fairly comprehensive list of interested and involved agencies, including your own planning board, the town of Cortland, the city of Peekskill, the Buchanan Fire District, the Verplank Fire District, Westchester County Department of Health, Westchester County Department of Planning, New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, New York State Department of State, and the United States Nuclear Regulatory Commission. It was also provided to the stakeholders, Certainteed and Holtec. The notice of intent was circulated mid-July, and we provided approximately 30 days for interested and involved agencies to respond. In fact, given today's date, it went well beyond the 30 days. To date, the only agencies that have responded include your own planning board, who reviewed this at their July meeting. They had no objection to the village board acting as lead agency. They had one suggestion that they would like to have a joint meeting with your board, if you're so inclined, to discuss particular aspects of the zoning. I've heard from Mr. Zachary. He has some questions and comments, and I told him, please feel free to call me, and so we can, get some of those on the record. And you received comments from Westchester County Planning Board. Again, they had no objection to your board acting as lead agency. We also received comments from the representatives from Certainteed, and I understand that they were here at a meeting earlier this month, and they provided some documentation, which is collectively for your consideration. So the next step in the process, environmental review process, would be for your board to formally declare yourself to be the lead agency to coordinate the environmental review. You would evaluate the comments that have come in. And then if you're so inclined, you could schedule a public hearing, presumably for your October meeting. And what I would suggest is I can prepare a resolution that would formally declare your board to be lead agency, scheduling a public hearing, and then circulate that kind of as a public hearing notice to all the other interested and involved agencies so that they understand where you are in the process and that you are considering opening a public hearing where you will get public comments for consideration. So that's a summary of where you're at right now with the process.
And where does the local waterfront revitalization fit into this? Because I know that's still, I know they're waiting for the state to respond back, but.
So the draft language really picks up on a lot of the themes that are in the LWRP about mixed use, about creating public access to the Hudson River, which I think is one of the critical components, and that's written into the proposed language, that there has to be public access to the river. There needs to be open space, along with all the other types of uses and design considerations. And the notice of intent was specifically circulated to the New York State Department of State representative who deals with the LWRP process. So they're fully aware of where the village is at with this process with respect to the LWRP.
If I may, Mayor, also just to let you know, they're still working the draft document. They have not finished the draft document yet. There'll still be a public hearing process for that aspect of the LWRP. So there is no reason for us. In fact, they actually would like to see the zoning in place before the LWRP is done. That was one recommendation from them. Yeah. But we have no idea when that timeline is going to end. I believe you'll probably be much further along in your process than the LWRP is going to be.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah, and they still haven't finished the draft document between the town and the village yet.
Yeah, so you could move again. I think as Marcus had indicated, more expeditiously with respect to this process than the current LWRP process.
Okay. And then, the public access is so very important because we had some development over the years, for example, the Lake Drive area, also Donahue Court. And it was a development that was put in there, but there was no access for everyone to get into the lake area.
Mhm.
So that's why it was so important with this, that we made sure that a developer didn't come in, build all this housing, and then there was no access. You know, we haven't had access for many, well, that area we've had,
Right.
the Lens Cove area, we've had that, but on most of the property, no. Are you done? Are you?
Yeah,
You've commented on
yeah.
everything.
Just waiting for any other additional.
Okay.
Questions,
Any other
comments?
comments, questions from the board or?
Till the next board meeting, right? I mean, we're already the lead agency and.
Well,
but we're
well,
gonna-
you,
we're gonna have
you
a
will,
hearing.
yeah, at the next meeting.
Yeah.
We'll
My
declare.
suggestion would be I'll prepare a resolution for you to formally declare yourself lead agency.
Mhm.
Well, are we inclined to have that meeting with them prior?
With the planning board?
Well, no, I mean, Certainty did come to us and ask us to have a meeting with you and George and Marcus and whoever else to try and, I don't know if that's.
I think
a
the
good idea.
direction was to them that it would be after we became lead agency next Tuesday.
They requested it prior to
September
that.
3rd.
No, I've been speaking to council and he's pretty clear that it'll be after you declare lead agency.
Okay.
Which he knows is going to be presumably next month or next week.
Or next week,
Next
yeah,
week.
September, yeah.
Yeah,
Tuesday.
we've been in contact, yep.
Yeah. Good. Good. Thank you. So then we'll see what their comments are. Okay, do you have anything else for us, Dave?
Not for tonight, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. All right.
I'll have direction to prepare a resolution for you for next week.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
good.
please,
Okay.
yeah, so we can schedule that for next Tuesday night.
Will do.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right. Okay, next is discussion of change order for the 2024 paving program, which has started already up on Seward Street. I told everyone to avoid the area and I drove through there myself today, so I don't listen to myself, so.
Good evening, Mayor, trustees. Is this on?
No.
Hello?
Yeah, it's just slow.
It's just slow.
Yeah. Just speak louder.
Thanks, Steve. Good night.
Good night.
Good
Good night, Dave.
Good night, Dave.
Thank you.
As part of the 2024 project, we reached out to the contractor, which is Intercounty, and we asked them to give us a price to do some curb work on Gallagher Street and to do some work that the 2023 contractor was scheduled to do on White Street, which was 100 feet of curb and some drop curb. I'm sorry, the 100 feet of curb is on Rockledge, but it's about the same distance on White Street. It's the 100 feet by the barber shop and the sidewalk there that's in disrepair. So it's to take that work away from that contractor and give it to Intercounty. So that's the change order that you see there. And there's the village administrator asked if we could show a savings of the 4,940. That's for the brick pavers. So we have decorative brick pavers in the circle. and
By the
around
barber
circle.
shop.
That was put in when the original circle was put in. The county designed it that way. That's an accent to make it look nice. They did that in a lot of different places.
Yeah, I think that goes back to almost 1994
Yeah.
when they redid that.
Yeah.
Axella did
Yes.
that.
That's right. They had overhead lines through the circle. Everything was
Right.
put underground.
Got buried,
The
yeah.
circle was redone.
Yeah.
So that was back then.
So it's been, 30 years?
Since that was,
So are we going from removing the brick pavers to just all concrete? Is that what you're saying?
So the administrator asked in that one section if the board wanted
Right.
to save money and not put the brick in, because there is some maintenance that comes along with it. You have to
Yes.
spray it, you have to take care of it. It tends to settle and
Well, the
pop.
bricks tend to heave, correct?
They tend to heave.
And becomes a liability.
Yes. So, I mean, it's a nice accent piece. It's done throughout the county. It's done throughout the state. It's done in a lot of places. But if you wanted to save money, it's a 1 foot, 1.5 foot wide section of brick that it's a band. It's a band of brick that goes in front, goes around the tree pit. And then, so that's what's on that's the change order. So, and you can talk about it at the next meeting. So I don't think just.
And they're just gonna install concrete?
Well, that would save you, in lieu of the pavers that would install concrete, yes.
So it'd be a 1 foot strip with an expansion joint?
Yes.
It would look stupid.
Well, no, it would be when they go to take it all out,
Mhm.
they would just pour right up to it. So instead of being a 5 foot wide right now with a 1 foot band, it would be a 6 foot straight around everything. So
There'd still be a joint.
it'd be a joint at the curb, but you wouldn't
There's
have.
still going to be a joint between the existing and the new.
Oh, when you come up to, I guess when you come up to the barber shop, it would.
No, there's going to be a joint. There has to be.
What he's saying is the whole sidewalk slab going to be removed, the entire width of the sidewalk, or just that strip? I think that's what he's.
Just
No, the whole
The
thing.
color of the concrete is going to be different.
All the concrete's going to be. You look at.
There is going to be a joint.
You look at Fat Sal's. They redid that section.
So it's a whole section of the sidewalk in front of the property.
No, I like the pavers. I think it gives it a little character to the village. I like the way it looks. That's my personal opinion.
I like them too.
I think it gives character. And yes, they do them all over in villages and circles all over the place because it does bring a little character to them.
Yeah, it's color. In the wintertime, it's red. It's stands out a little.
And if they're installed correctly, they don't heave.
And if there's not a tree there.
And if there's not a tree,
Yeah.
if there's not a tree pushing the roots up,
Yeah.
then it doesn't heave either.
But what's instead of brick, what are your thoughts? But I don't know how it would hold up those other pavers.
Well, you
like
can do
with the
stamped
salt.
concrete as well. You can run into stamped concrete, which gets pricey. That's pricey per square foot. Or you could change the look of the pavers altogether and go with some other color. Maybe we had something else we wanted to do. But, the concrete to me, I don't like it.
Be too blah, maybe.
I don't like it. The concrete's never going to match, and there's going to be a joint.
I agree.
So other than brick, see what else we might be able to do to just make it pop a little bit.
Well, as Trustee Kepka said, the only other option is stamped concrete, and it comes in different. Or when you do the stamped concrete, you can either make it look like brick, or like they did in
okay.
Hastings, they made it look like a stone.
You just add color.
You just add color to the top of it. So there's two ways of doing it. Some methods are to add color to the whole concrete, and some is to add it to the surface.
And the surface where I would have to shovel in a couple of years to lose that color. I've seen it happen.
Oh, the sun.
It
probably
chips and it
bleaches it.
Chips into the aggregate underneath. with the shovel.
The brick, we've done a brick, actually,
Better concrete pavers then.
sidewalk. We've done them in Bedford Village
Yeah.
over 30 years ago, and the only thing that's worn out is the brick itself. So, but they take maintenance, but
Yeah, and then you have to worry about, you got to be careful because you got to worry about the effects of the salt because some of the things like a paver would just destroy it.
It is a high grade paver that's meant to be put down. So it has certain absorptive qualities, certain erosive qualities. It's DOT grade brick, so it's the better quality that you put down. So it's not gonna should last longer than just an average brick.
Well, kind of 30 years. That was a pretty good run out there with those bricks.
Get blacktop.
So how much?
Blacktop doesn't last 15 years. I mean, you got a good run with the brick, and I believe going back with it.
How much sidewalk are we replacing? We're ripping some sidewalk out and putting new down, right?
Yeah, so
How much?
it's the section about 100 feet. It's from where the barber shop, the face of the barber shop to the left.
All the way
The
down to the
section-
driveway?
Yeah, all the way down to the driveway.
I think that if we're gonna do the brick, we do the same brick to match the rest of the circle.
Yeah.
I want it to match.
Yeah, so that's
Right?
the other
Yeah, I
thing.
mean,
good
it's gotta
point.
look- Otherwise, it's not going to look right.
Okay, so.
So I guess we're going back with brick.
Right, okay.
Okay, so that's the
So- So
$29,000.
we'll have that for the next meeting for you to approve the change. of
Yes.
30,000.
30,000. Yeah, that's
Yep, okay.
Okay.
Thanks, George.
no problem.
And then, so glad you're here. We have, I don't know, I really think the board needs to talk about the curb policy and curb cut policy going forward. I think in some parts of the village, my honest opinion is I don't think curbs are necessary. There are parts of the village, I know somebody had called me last year on 3rd Street, Lower 3rd Street, where the water was running off of one property and then there was a ditch from the water. So that probably is a place you would want curbing. Lake Street, with everything funneling down to the lake, you can't leave that open. But I think we really need to have a discussion because we have a couple of situations where people have asked for drop curbs. And in some areas, I'm not sure if we need curbs at all in that area. And the curbs do look nice in some places, but you know what? It's nothing against our highway guys, because when they're out plowing the snow, it's hard to see where the sidewalk is, where the curbs are. And, you know, sometimes they hit them. They can't see them. So I don't know. I think we need to have a discussion going forward, what we do with curbs. I know there was a resident on, I guess, Rockledge Seward, that wants a drop curb. And we are not working right now, as George, you know, going from Seward up to the church, that strip of the area. We're not working on that part of Seward. The Seward area that we're working on goes up to the Rockledge intersection. So a resident had asked for a drop curb there. And that's why I think we're not working there right now, but I think we need to have a discussion in general on curbing. And I know, George, you're a big proponent of curbs. Over the years, I know.
The highway, I'm talking to Bob. He's drummed it into my head that curbs are good.
Okay, all right.
So
for years.
He likes, it holds the road together better, you know.
It's neater.
It's neater, it's easier to plow. But, you know, to your point, not every road needs a curb, so. And we did Henry Street just recently, did one side that really curb worked well, and the other side, it really didn't. I mean, I drove by there tonight and the car was halfway out, and right where the curb would be, the car was. So it just didn't make sense. And then you would have drop curb all the way down the road.
Yep.
And
It's a lot of money for,
sometimes it doesn't make sense.
Right.
And over the years, the board has taken some of the more difficult streets, like maybe the end of Seward. And they said, maybe we'll just pave it this year and leave it the way it is and do it again. Relook at it another year or many years down the road. So that's been what's been happening. You know, you take the drive around with Bob or the highway superintendent. You look at what's worst, because we had a whole bunch of people on Lake Street all of a sudden say, "Well, we want a curb." So we look at what's worst. We did the worst one, and then we work it into a budget the year after or the year after that, whatever is. Works out for everybody. So, and the board looks at the plan, we vote, we talk. What are we doing? But what happens is we start working on a street, and then people come up and they say, "Oh, we want something."
Yeah.
So by then it's kind of late. You know, we've started the process. It's very difficult to say, okay, now we're going to add this to it, and then the process never ends. Then you're adding all the way down the street. So I think, you know, you made a decision. You're there, and you want to add to it, you add to it, but. You know, over the years, you said, we stop here. You know, it's where we said we stop, we look at it another year.
So the answer to the resident is that's a change order that it's not in our budget this year.
It wasn't, you didn't approve it in your plan, but you approved for. I mean, you can, you know, you're the board, you can add what you want.
But we're not paving that road.
We're not paving that side. We're not paving down. We're only paving. There was a section that the highway department, there was an asphalt curb in front of there that kept getting damaged. It was in disrepair. So we repaired that section of the curb that was on the opposite side. Made sense. They actually, I think it was poured today or yesterday. So no, we're not paving all the way down. We're only doing a 2-foot strip in front of there. But it's one of the roads we talked about. Maybe we should look at more closely, and we should see where the curb would belong, and maybe have a number of meetings, you know, publicize it and say, okay, have everybody come out and talk about it. Maybe put it on for next year and say, okay, we'll look at it and talk about it. So.
Well, I will say that I'm all for curbs. And I'm not for drop curbs over the village. I can understand drop curbs for the driveways and stuff like that. We do have codes that kind of rule what we should be doing here. And we have to trust our building inspector who's in charge of that to do their job and say, this is the why not? Yeah. You can have this curb.
Yeah, it's a difficult thing. Some of them have been there for 50, 100 years, and you know, some people have no other parking. And
well, I understand if they're existing, there's not much you get if they're existing, but if they're new, people all of a sudden are looking around going, well, he had one I want. And we keep on violating our own codes? No.
No,
we can't. Our codes stand up, and when we as a board get in the middle of it, we're you know, our building inspectors are setting the law. He's following the codes. Why should we even get involved in it as a board?
If it's pre-existing, I mean, we discussed this. If it's pre-existing, match pre-existing, and leave it alone.
So now you have a condition which is interesting because there's nothing. So what is pre-existing? So there's nothing there. if there's nothing there, but somebody parks there,
Code doesn't allow it.
so it would seem by what you said, it's not allowed. It's not an existing drop curb, so you're not putting back an existing, it's an improvement. You put in, you
You'd
put
have
in
to have full reveal curb there.
a full reveal curb. Would
Yeah.
seem like if you were to do something and stick to a policy of put back what was there, then that would be.
And that would eliminate whoever from parking on their grass,
Yes.
as well as making snow plowing easier and maintaining the asphalt.
Yeah, and the other thing is now you put a drop curb there, and now where you push the snow further down. It's really a spot to put snow right now, right?
Well, when you have a
So-
curb, when you're riding a curb with the plow, so you can keep putting the snow off the road when we usually get the big snows.
Yeah,
Now, when you're on the curb, you want to get more room for the snow to be off the road, you start picking the yards up too.
Yeah.
And really, one of the good benefits I would say about a curb is when the street sweeper comes out in the spring.
It's all, it just helps keep the road cleaner and neater. I mean,
It's 100%.
up at Fourth Street, when that was done, no one wanted up
The
at
snow
Fourth Street done
removal
with
too. I
curbs.
mean,
And when they did it, they loved it.
It makes it easier, for sure. I know one of the highway guys on Fourth Street, he said he didn't like it. He didn't, no, it wasn't you. It was George.
Yeah.
He said he said, oh, I'm against it. I'm against it. He went in and said, you know what? I was against this, but I really like it now. It makes it look neater.
So you don't realize how wide the road really is until you
And
do
then
that.
you don't, that too. So,
so Mayor.
So what's the bottom line?
Do you
here?
want
Thank
us,
you. Let's
with
bring
this one with that, I can get back to the residents saying
Okay.
it's outside of scope, we're not going to consider it this year. The question is, do you want, I can work with George and we set up a policy that you guys can review and discuss? And there's certain sections of the law regarding curbs, but when you have a curb, is that a policy you want to set in place so that way people know what they're looking for or when they apply for something?
There's already a policy in place.
about how we.
We have,
Just not following.
we have codes.
We have a code.
You know what I mean? And if there's
Just
a
not followed.
pre-existing, if there's a new house, a new curb cut, it gets a new curb cut.
Right.
If it's pre-existing, it gets matched. If it's
Right.
not there, then it's never going to be there.
Mhm.
I mean, it's in our code.
Mhm.
I mean, that's our policy, no?
So,
yes.
so in our code, the pre-existing, like if someone has one that they should have had for many years,
That's right.
it comes back.
Right.
That's why I think we're talking about
That's the
pre-existing, maybe a policy for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
it's pre-existing, then we match what's
Right,
there.
right.
If it's there, we're not going to take it away. We're going to put it back.
So that's what
I'm
we
trying
need
to
a
say.
policy for, I think Marcus is talking.
Correct.
about.
But the code doesn't allow for that. The code just
Oh,
says-
that would be a good idea.
Yeah.
Then that I agree with that.
Right. So
Absolutely.
the code
Yeah.
just say you allow one curb cut, but then we should change the policy or change the code to say
Yeah.
if you have pre-existing non-conforming curb cut,
Hmm.
that it could be replaced. That
Absolutely.
at least we can match the law.
Mhm.
You want to be more specific.
Correct.
Yeah.
George, we can take a look at the
Yeah.
code and
Yeah.
That'd be
maybe in a
Maybe-
policy or change the law.
And,
Okay.
and have Dave look at that too, because he gets involved. with it,
Absolutely.
so.
Yep.
Sure.
Yeah, we're working it.
Okay, so the next is the sewer lining project, the bids,
So
2024.
Yep, the bids, we put the project out to bid, received the bids last Thursday. We got 4 bids. The lowest was, In Situ Form Technologies. They were at 112,750, which we were shooting for 100,000 to spend our ARPA money.
Mhm.
So I think we accomplished that, and the only thing is, I think the ARPA was 101,
101. We got
So-
to get this done before December.
and we have to get it done before December, and the board would need to approve the additional amount over the ARPA money, which you probably have.
Mhm.
So,
Is this the same firm that we used prior?
no, Errold was actually, the second low bidder was the company we used prior, and it's only a $12,000 difference, so it was pretty close. Yeah, they were good.
It's a good company.
They did.
Have you heard about the first company? Chris? Do you know about it?
I've never heard of them, but I've worked with Harold on a lot of projects.
Yeah, they do good work.
So, Entech was actually, In Situ bought Entech, and Entech is actually the local people.
Yeah, Intech I've heard of. So they bought out,
Yeah, so you see it's from Missouri,
yeah.
so they're across the country, and they've been buying up the smaller companies, and that's how they're able to put in a bid in this area, because they bought a small company. So you're really not buying into In Situ, you're buying into Entech, but we called the references and we checked them, and they said. they-
That's right. Okay, so everybody's had good luck with them?
So the references we called were in this area. So,
Okay.
so they're
Right.
from all over. So we wanted somebody from this area. We called New Haven and someone else. And they both said, yeah, we've used them for years, and that company is fine. We're going to keep using it. So they didn't have an issue using them.
Okay.
So
All right, good.
so we can put that on the agenda for
the award the bid. Yep.
award the bid.
Okay, good. Gonna have a busy agenda. Okay, good. Thank you, George.
Yep.
All right, anything else for George? Good, okay, all right. Thanks, George. Good night.
Thanks, George.
Thanks, George.
Okay, the next is, there's going to be a road race on September 22nd, Oktoberfest road race. And I know the board had, hi, how are you? The board had gotten, some information today, and, we have some representatives here. And I want to thank you because the second plan of where the running path is less impact on the residents. So, and I think really going on Broadway, straight up on Broadway, it's kind of a nice, it's wooded and it's kind of a nice run. So, not that I'll be running with you, but it is a nice run. So,
and also I learned during this meeting that covers almost all of Buchanan because you said 1.3 miles.
Yep.
Like,
1.3 square miles. Yeah.
So I'm from Chesapeake Battaglia.
I'm Heather Bishop. I grew up in Croton-on-Hudson, but I live in Peekskill now.
I live in Croton-on-Hudson. So neither of us are residents, but we're the founders of Run PD. We're a 501c3 nonprofit, and we have like 150 members, some of whom do live in this village. So it sounds like you kind of have an idea of what we're proposing. What we would do is we would start. People would park down at River Outpost or Let's Cove. Then they would like 15 minutes before the race walk up to the start line. We need to obviously work with Chief Farrell on the safest way to do that. And then they would run down, and probably walkers would take maybe 20 minutes. So looking about an hour of road closure time there. So it would start near St. Patrick's Cemetery and end in Let's Cove with like some refreshments and like little Oktoberfest theme. What else do we want to tell you?
And then you'll be paying for any expenses incurred by the village.
Yeah,
That's great.
through the proceeds of the race. And then, a piece we always include a charity partner in our races. And we were actually talking to Marcus. We had been looking for somebody to involve, and he had suggested the VA food pantry, which is a wonderful idea. So we will pursue that as long as our race is approved. We're looking at about 150 participants, capping it at about 150. I mean, it could be way less, but that would be our cap.
Ideally, yes.
So they don't overwhelm the services and everything. Is there anything else?
I think that's it. We've had several successful insured community events before, mostly in Peekskill. We're based out of our name is Run PB. So we're, as the name suggests, based out of Peekskill Brewery. And then since their closure, we've kind of been trying to branch out and establish other community connections. And one of which, it was unfortunate, yeah. But one of which has been River Outpost. So they're also having most likely having an Oktoberfest event that day. So like our idea was for our event to directly like segue into that.
Any questions about the event, concerns, things we could kind of address?
No, I think it's a great idea.
And actually, it's been a pleasure working with Marcus. Like a lot of back and forth, and Chief Farrell like letting us know this won't work, this might work. So that's made it really easy for us to kind of adjust and plan. So I hope it works out.
And I think what we might have to do, we'll have to talk to the chief, but we might in Verplank there, so we don't have the residents coming from Verplank on Broadway. We have to work with the town too to cut that road off for an hour.
You'd have to put it
like a horse.
14th Street.
Yeah. This way we could divert the traffic so they're not getting angry that they're sitting there for an hour. Because it's a big throughway too for people coming in and out of Verplank. So, and to notify the town, so maybe they could do a code red to the
So the
Burbank
residents are
residents,
aware.
so they're aware. So
That's
that'd
how
be
I
good.
go to Paradise Pizza, so I'm well aware.
Oh, okay, good. Yeah, that's the main thoroughfare there. All right, I think we're good then for that. So we'll approve that at the September 3rd meeting. Is everyone in favor of approving that for the September 3rd?
I'm fine with it.
Okay. All right.
That's great.
Thank you.
Guys. Yeah, it's been a pleasure. We're looking forward to hosting
Thank you.
the community event, and if anybody wants to participate.
Absolutely. Good luck with it.
Not this year. Okay, also September 28th is Buchanan Day this year. We have a Buchanan Running Club. And they will be starting at 10:30 with their run. And after that, starting at 11 is Buchanan Day, 11 to 3. So just put that on your calendar, everyone.
I'm glad you changed the date, by the way.
Oh, good, good. Well, I knew it would be better for you, so I changed it.
It actually works. I'm supposed to
Okay.
go away that day.
Oh, okay, good. It worked.
Yeah.
Good. And the next thing is Senator Harcum has a grant that he gives to all the communities. And I've said this before, going back in years ago, it used to be the Hunger Games where that money was distributed to, but he distributed equally $100,000. And there is, I think it has to be in by October 1st, the application, sometime October 1st, I think. But there's a list of things that qualify. I don't know if the board has had time to review any of them. Some of the things that we can do. Okay, let me just give you like a little. So the grant could be for roofs, plumbing, electrical, a light duty emergency vehicle, which could be, I guess, a police. I know the police might be looking for a new vehicle, an SUV that might fit into it. Oh, should have asked George. Water and sewer infrastructure. HVAC, 15 years. Generators. Does the sewer treatment plant have a generator?
Yes.
Okay. The highway department have a generator?
No.
That might be a possibility. I'm just throwing out some things. Under heavy duty construction vehicle, maintenance, garbage recycling vehicles. Yeah, 100,000 ain't going to go too far to get a new garbage truck, but also, I know the Recreation Committee has mentioned they're talking about the playground behind Westchester Avenue. It doesn't fit all age groups, so that's a discussion that will be ongoing. And that's kind of what I know. Those were my kind of thoughts, something to that effect. I don't know if any of the board members have thought about anything or are looking to any.
And it's research to add it's $100,000 grant, but you could break it up to $50,000 increments. So
One has to be a minimum of
50,000. So if you
Yeah.
have two projects, $50,000, then that's fine as well. So I'll just throw that out there too for your discussion.
So you could have
purposes.
one at 65 and something else 35. So as long as the main one, there's one that's at least 50.
Right.
And you have to list them on the grant as it's submitted?
What
Yes.
you're looking for.
Yeah, what
Yeah.
you're looking for, right? So
Yeah.
we have to actually come up with something.
Correct. And I got to give them some proposals as well. That's part of the application. Yes.
Okay.
So I mean, when on September 3rd next week, if you guys want to think
We should
about.
have an answer by then, right?
Yeah, because we need to submit it by in the beginning of October. But I know, police vehicle now. What's an SUV now? Gosh, they got to be
Right.
65.
Well, by the
70.
time you outfit it with the lights and everything else, it's at least 100K.
What we
probably.
could do too is we could apply for something like we did, Teresa.
Oh yeah.
And then before we take the money, we can change our mind to something else as long as we meet the criteria and not lose the money. For example, for the boiler, we took 2 years worth of grants, $200,000 grants, and we spent $200,000, and we were able to reallocate it towards the boiler. So not to lose that opportunity, as long as we put something in there that
Yeah.
works, and then we could always change our mind. So just want to throw that out there too.
Yeah, we don't want to lose the 100,000, so we want to. Okay, so we'll discuss that further next week. Think about
Anything for microphone use on there? If somebody figure this out.
They're coming on Friday. I just texted them.
How old are the AC and heating units in this building? I mean, you can't tell me they're efficient.
Yeah.
So, just throwing out an idea.
Probably since the 70s, I would have to guess.
When this place was built,
Yeah.
redone in what, 1976?
Like the panel.
The paneling, yeah.
And the,
And
and the
that's-
carpeting?
that's- Yeah, the carpet. I mean, that's something else if you guys want to talk about, that's another discussion to have. I love the orange carpet. Okay. It's in great shape still, but it's just a little bit outdated. So, Marcus had gotten a price once before,
Yeah.
just a little outdated. And I think for the tiles, I think it was $10,000 at
Yeah,
the time.
for the
So
tiles, yeah.
so that's, I don't know what the board's pleasure is. I don't know if they really like the orange carpet also, but it's still in good shape, but it's outdated.
Yeah.
So,
Again,
Oh, it's-
1976.
yeah. So we got our money's worth. So, just like our equipment, we get our money's worth on everything. So we're good.
This was hanging out in the Brady house.
Brady house, exactly.
Partridge family, better yet.
My God. Yeah, well, so Marcus, you know what? If you could get another price for it's going to kill me, but we're going to cut out a piece and put it in the historical room.
Yes.
But and I know Nick is doing a happy dance because he wanted to do that for years.
10 years ago, right?
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Like a bonsai tree.
Oh my gosh. The next is the employee handbook. I have spoken to a few of the mayors in the county. They either use the same company or they have their handbook established for quite some time and they're comfortable with it. So it seems to be that is the major company that people go to. And Marcus, what was the 65?
$6,500.
6,500?
Correct.
I'm a big proponent for it. I think we can't continue to operate without an employee handbook.
Okay, sure. It helps. We have a lot of new employees, so it's a it's a good
But
thing.
it's just, it covers us from an HR perspective, of any kind of situation that may come up. That's just my feeling.
And it's just unfortunate. It's like going to be like 300 per person, but then again, the handbook was established at that point.
Yep.
Anything that has to be
And it's-
updated gets updated then.
And you're covered.
Yep. Okay, so yeah, if you could move forward with that.
Perfect, thank you.
The next is seasonal help relief season from October 1st to December 23rd at $18 an hour. Do we have any applicants yet or?
Yes, we have 5.
Really?
Wow.
And we're going to hire three this year? Okay, great. Oh, no, that's wonderful. Good. All right. So we'll be able to put that on the agenda for next week, please. The next is an easy one. So the November board meeting will be November 6th because election day is the day before on that Tuesday. So that'll be a Wednesday. The December workshop will be on December 17th. So we're going to move it up a week. Otherwise it would be Christmas Eve. And I don't think too many people will be here with us. So, or most of the board won't be here. So same thing. So those are the two changes, November 6th for the November meeting and the workshop meeting in December 17th. Okay. What else do we have? Do the board members, anybody have any comments that they want to make?
Just a workshop. Gotcha, that's easy.
No, just that the services for Mr. Ferguson are tomorrow.
Yes. Yeah. Thank you, Dan. Yeah.
And I believe it's 2 to 4, 7 to 9. I believe they're broken up.
Yeah. Where?
Carter's.
Carter's. Montrose.
Yeah.
I also would like to recognize Donnie Mackey as well.
Oh, that's right.
Donnie
Yes.
Mackey was a lifelong resident, and he's a good friend of mine, Dan's, Reels. I mean, we all have known Donnie and his family for a lifetime, and he passed last week. And lifelong resident of Buchanan, great guy, great family guy.
His parents.
And, parents still live here.
Yeah.
So
Can you remind me next Tuesday to do a moment of silence for Donnie also? Thank you.
I do have one other thing to say. As far as the AMS thing, I understand where we all are at with that, and it's been confusing and it's been a ride for a long time. But ultimately, the final outcome is the same. Monetarily, it's the same, and that's what's most important. That's what drove us to get this done. I understand there are some negative feelings towards the changing, because there's a lot of people that don't accept change like other people accept change, and that's normal. But there are benefits for this going in this direction, as well as there's negativity. It would be less impact on the school district, which we all were a big proponent against. I mean, we're all against when the building was first brought to us. The traffic was a major issue. The traffic will not be an issue now. I'm sure that the original traffic study was done for the reasoning of the all ages to be living in the facility, including student and transportation for students and everything else. So I get it. Everybody is wondering what's going on, and I also had a lot of questions. And I reached out to some of the people that I know. I've been involved in buildings that go up in Yonkers that I've actually worked on a development that have switched gears mid operation and went the direction that we don't want this to go. And it makes you scratch your head, like, all right, so you don't get the financing, but this financing is coming from a private financer. It's an equity that it's private. It's not government funded money. It is something that they feel is necessary to get this project done. We've already approved the project, so we have to accept what's coming our way. I questioned it as much as everybody else did, and don't think that I didn't. I thought this was going to go in the wrong direction, but there could be they do their data, they do their homework. The elderly do need a place to live. 55 and older is not elderly at this point. I mean, 55 and older, everybody's still working. I mean, there's not a lot of retirees. The rentals are expensive. It seems expensive, but that's market value. This project number is a big number. It's a big number, and I don't believe that they would invest this kind of money in a situation that would not be productive. And I work on developments like this through the county, and they all work. They all work. I don't know how they work, and that's why I scratch my head too, but they work. They work. And I've been in this area my whole life. Born and raised, not in Buchanan, but Montrose and Verplank and Buchanan. And they all work. I work outside this Tri-Village area, and they all seem to work. So I am a big fan of development, and I am a big fan of making this village a better place. And I think this project will help do that. I really do. And I've said it from the beginning. One more thing, the Mount Carmel Society in Verplank. This is something that my wife spearheaded, and the PTA was involved as well. We are, the Mount Carmel Society is donating school supplies to any needy families in the community this Saturday morning from 9 to 12, I believe. So we've had some outreach for family members that are struggling, that need help with school supplies. The school supply list is very demanding. So this will try and help as many families as we can at Mount Carmel. So that is happening on Saturday morning from 9 to 12. Thank you.
At Mount Carmel Society?
At Mount Carmel, yeah. Okay. That's all.
All right, good. Thank you.
Where do you find out what you find?
Well, we pulled from this, we pulled from the school list. So the school sends a list out for every children. Oh, let me get this straight. It's for elementary school children. The list that we're using is based off of the elementary school level. So that's pretty much where we could, our budget was set at. So we based it on the elementary school supply list from. Yeah, absolutely. Well, I don't know. I'm sure somewhere on the school website there is a list of. Well, you personally have my wife's phone number, and she has the list. And I'll tell her to post it, or maybe we could put it on the website or something here. Yeah, I mean, we could do it anywhere. I don't know what's on the list. There's a lot of stuff on the list, but it's a very demanding list. And it's hard for some families to, get everything they need, and they shouldn't Shouldn't have to, but they do.
It's expensive to send the kids back to school.
I've been doing it for 20 years.
Yeah,
I'm good at it.
yeah.
Yeah.
I just wanted to mention a few things also, and then I'm done. The front sign on the front lawn, I had mentioned something, maybe we could either replace it or put the sign on the front of the building. It's kind of hidden, where it says Village of Buchanan on the front lawn there. Is there some way we can either have that put on the building? I don't know if that's something the board would be interested in, or it's starting to get a little used up front there. It's starting to, it's not looking good. So.
By the flagpole, like?
Yeah, by the flagpole over there. Yeah.
I mean, I passed there 1,000 times and don't really notice.
Yeah, because it's in the summertime, it's hidden by the trees.
Is it
So
something that
when
could be-
people drive by, they don't know, if they don't live here, they don't know that this is the village hall here.
Would cut back the trees, maybe?
Yeah.
They did that already.
They
The
did?
highway department did a great job in the spring. They really,
You want to move the sign closer to the street? You want to get it replaced?
or to the left.
I mean, you got
wanna
the,
get it-
you got the
signs
equipment
underneath.
now. I'm sure it's
Yeah.
something that they,
Yeah.
but if you pull it out now, you might be damaging it, right? How long's it been there? Who knows?
Yeah.
That's not been as long as the ones that we've replaced.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Do you want to get a new sign if you don't forget that they're not out of wood?
I mean, I know we have the electric sign, but, you know, people, I think it's just to highlight that the village hall, what, you know, what we have here. I mean, it's just food for thought. If you can get a price on that and then.
Yeah,
the
I'll
board
look
can
at it when I go
make-
by
Yeah,
tomorrow morning.
make a decision. Yeah. Yeah, when you drive by the road too, look, you know, maybe we could put it up on the left side of the building. I don't know, just food for thought, just
If you
food
want
for
to
thought.
relocate that sign and get a new sign.
Mhm.
What the guys want to do.
The other thing is the pool. We really need to start, now for next year because we have some issues with that pool. And the
We
camp.
have this discussion every year, so.
Yeah, so I think it's August, it's going into September, and I know Marcus, gosh, a couple of years ago now, had gotten a price. He worked with Bell, was it Bell, this company, whatever, they had some suggestions, they looked at it, but I think we need to start looking at that.
Well,
because
can any of the
before-
Harcum money go towards the pool?
I think so. I think
think,
so.
I
Maybe we
think
could
we-
use that.
Yeah, I
Can
mean,
we add that with the recreation money that we freed up,
yes.
the portion of it?
I think Cindy, I think we have 200, roughly 200,000 in the recreation. So with Harkham's money, there's 300.
I
Maybe
mean,
we
with the
could-
development, we will be actually replacing that
Yeah.
money if we use it.
Yeah,
Yes.
but the
That's right.
problem
With the two
is
developments.
that won't be, you know, for another year until they're occupied, then they'll give the money for that.
Right.
So, but you know, there could
But
be-
let's maybe that Harcum money just goes towards that.
Mhm. What do you think?
Well, we're gonna need a lot more than that.
Yeah, oh, yeah, we
That,
need
that
more.
pool,
You have no
we
camp.
really need to look and see what's really needed for that pool.
Correct.
Mhm.
And really assess how much money we want to put into that. It was become just a big money pit.
Right.
I remember getting prices years ago and the numbers were astronomical.
Correct.
No, you're right.
Minor repairs for the most part.
Yes.
I mean, when you really think about it, they're nothing major, but
But we have to be careful too, because the camp needs that pool,
Yeah, they need
otherwise,
it to survive. Otherwise, you
Yeah.
have no camp.
So-
It's really an asset for this village. We really need
Yeah.
to look into it.
yeah,
I-
it's a
I just
beautiful.
wish more people would use it. I've said it before. I'd like to see what the attendance is now at Camp Cove.
They have daily
Yes,
attendance
they do.
records, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So Cindy, could you give that to the whole board? Like, you know, just send the attendance records for.
Maybe if we make it beautiful.
Maybe, you're right. You're
Ah,
absolutely right.
okay.
It's
Will
always been- it's
had
always been-
no idea how many people like pickleball until she put it on that
Yeah,
LED
that's right.
board out front.
But it's just amazing.
You
over
gotta,
the
you gotta
years.
build your field of dreams.
That's right. Build it and they will
And they
come.
will come.
I mean, I'm not against having a pool, but I'm just saying, like, I mean, Nick
It was on
Zachary
Waynesboro.
Nick Zachary was one of those proponents constantly, was just to get that pool going. and
It was
nothing
Field of
seemed to
Dreams.
work.
Yeah. So, you know, let's look at it and see what needs to be done. The rec meetings, I'm sure Wilda will speak about that, have been going very good. We have a great active group with some good ideas and a survey coming out. And they, yeah, it's kind of like a fun group. So you'll hear more from them. And I think that's all I have.
Bob, you have anything?
I don't really have much. I
Okay.
just wanted to follow up what Dan said before about the employee handbook, which I think is very important to get done. I was working on that as a shop steward. That's me as then in the
Yeah.
workforce. But a question I do have in that is in there, is that talk about the workplace violence policies? But don't we already have a policy for that?
We have
It's
we have a separate policy for it. Correct. So the idea is the handbook will give you all the policies in one document to give to everybody.
So.
So you have workplace violence, you have sexual
Yeah, we have to do
harassment.
that- we have to do that every year, right?
Yes,
And
that's
are all
correct.
our employees put up doing that? Is that everyone that works, everyone gets a check from the village?
There is, it's the need, almost.
Almost?
Yep. Not everybody has finished their training they're supposed to do. Yes.
And what's the repercussion if you don't have? What's the repercussion if you don't have the training?
Yeah, absolutely.
Can you still serve if you don't have the training?
Would that be something that would?
That's why we need an employee handbook.
Right. I was gonna
We
say,
need
that's
to
like
set out the
employee handbook.
rules,
You have to-
what
With-
consequences are.
You have to do it. It's sexual.
And I'll tell you right now, our insurance carriers probably aren't happy knowing that we don't have an employee handbook. Okay.
Yeah,
I agree. I was surprised. I was.
That's coming from an insurance guy, just saying.
The only other thing, Stephanie, thank you. Now that we're talking about training, Stephanie wrote up something for training and attendance for the planning and the zoning board.
I saw it.
Yeah, going
online.
forward, I think that's
And we send it to
important
the
too.
boards.
Yeah, you have people sending them back signed.
Yeah.
And then anybody you're going to appoint. I think it was important because people didn't realize maybe the commitment is 5 years,
Absolutely.
4 hours of training. There's a
Yeah.
commitment and attendance. You know, it was
The
like, no, I'm not going to be
attendance-
here for 3 months. That
Yeah.
doesn't help when there's a project.
The attendance
think that would
is
help.
huge.
We're going to do, I think we decided on 80% of the scheduled meetings.
Yeah,
recommended.
I
You
read
did,
through it.
yeah.
It's
Yeah.
80%.
I think that'll help.
Was someone appointed for the vacancy yet?
That will be next week,
Oh,
next
okay.
Tuesday. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
All right, I'm done.
I don't have anything else.
Bob.
I have pickleball mania.
There you go. There you go.
So I have to say, pickleball has taken off. We have about 12 consistent participants because that's all we paid for. But we also have a waiting list of other participants, and everyone's having a great time. The instructors have been great. I'm already thinking of how we can expand this so we can offer it to more people in the village as well as to children. We had a parent that asked if she could bring her 2 children, but right now this is open just for adults. But I am coming up with a plan. I'm still learning how to make motions and resolutions, so I need guidance. But I do want to come with a plan to the board, if that's allowed, at the next meeting.
I think that's a great idea.
Still learning, and I'm going to go to training so I can be better at what I'm doing. Trust me.
You're doing fine.
I'm trying. But the ideas are there. How to process them with the board is what I need to learn. But I would love to keep this alive. Playing pickleball at the pavilion has been great because whether it rains or it's sunny, we can play there. And the participants have been great. Marcus, Cindy, Sharon, everyone has come out. A lot of residents have come out to cheer us on, and I really, really appreciate that. So if you're listening, gracias.
Dan, I didn't get to you yet.
That's all I had.
Oh, okay.
You know, I said my comments about the employee handbook and, you know, again, my condolences to the Ferguson family. Great loss to the community. I don't think people understand how instrumental Bob was in getting that Portland Ambulance Company
He was
off
very
the ground.
involved.
Yeah, and very involved with the vets as well as St. Mary's Church down in Croton as well. So again,
Yeah,
our
Michelle
condolences.
Murray passed away too, so.
She was a long time resident.
Trustee, Sean Murray's ex-wife, but they were great friends afterwards. I can't talk too much. I really can't talk too much about it. I can't wait from there to hear. And she was a very, very close friend of mine.
And she was very involved in the Buchanan.
Firehouse.
Yeah,
Correct.
yeah.
And
So
she worked at the camp.
Yeah,
right?
she was.
As an EMT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll
Great
put
loss. Our
Donnie.
community's had
and-
quite a few losses in them.
Yeah, it's been a bad week
Our
here.
thoughts and prayers go out to all those families that have lost a loved one. So that's it.
Any comments from the floor?
Not yet. You knew Eileen was getting them.
Anthony, I just want to say, I'm not opposed to change. I just am a little skeptical of where they're coming from. I understand the funding, but when you give a good spiel, it's great. And everybody is, biting at the bit. They want something that's going to work. And then all of a sudden, it changes. And so, okay, we look at it again and say, all right, everything stayed the same, basically. It didn't really change other than the 55 and
The demographic, so to speak.
but I'm waiting for them to come back with a third one as a possible a condominium, a co-op, or something. If they can't get all these people to fill 148 apartments, that's the only thing I'm a little leery about. I'm not saying that that's the worst possibility. I'm just saying that with funding, you never know what's going to happen. That's the problem.
And that's with everything in life.
Right. So, but I'm not opposed to change. It's just that I'm just a little bit skeptical. That's
No, and I was just as skeptical as you, and they gave me the same spiel.
Yeah, it sounds great.
Yeah, well, it sounds great, but it also, with our economy and the way the world is going, things are subject to change.
Do we have anything for executive session?
I do.
Oh, okay.
I have an update on the whole tech negotiation.
Okay. All right. So I'd like to make a motion to go into executive session for negotiations. Can I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. And thank you all for coming and have a
Thank
great
you.
Buchanan day.